is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We are back. Just came back from the honeymoon about 2 days ago. A lot has gone on. There was a FAQ release for the 23 World Championship of Warhammer 40,000, and a lot of people were asking, is the Grandmaster dead for the Grey Knights? And we're going to go over it in this video. So we're going to go over some different options on what you could be bringing instead of the Grandmaster. I said in my video that we just posted about 7 days ago with the tier list that the Grandmaster was better than every other choice that we had, and that was prior to them releasing this FAQ. So I'm going to give you my insights on what's been working, what I would be using in the future, and some things that we should be definitely testing out as a community. But this is going to be all about some different options for the instead of the Grandmaster that you can be running for Grey Knights and still pull off the same maneuverability and tactics that we have for the Grey Knights in 10th edition. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna go over the fact for you real quick. If you guys are Patreons, I appreciate the support, especially while I was away on my honeymoon. We were gone for 2 weeks over in Italy and Greece, and you guys basically held down the fort while we were away. I apologize, there wasn't a ton of content coming out because we were away, but we did release about 4 or 5 videos while I was away on my honeymoon. But all these videos get released first on patreon.com. So if you guys want to support the channel and have the channel grow, you guys can support us over there. If you guys want to get in the competitive scene, we did rank #1 in Grey Knights last year, and we got ranked #1 in Chaos Space Marines currently for 2023 season. We're going to LVO with Chaos Space Marines. But you guys get to head over to Patreon and get one-on-one coaching with me with the competitive dirt bag as well as the Grandmaster bag. You get a little bit more perks of seeing specific videos you want to see on the channel, and that's the Grandmaster. So let's get into the video. We have the facts pulled up for you guys right here. Hopefully it's going to be pretty small, but I'll go over it in detail a little bit with the bullet points. So the main one we're going to be going over is this one right here. Some units, Mortarion, Trajan, and specifically, they always left out the Grandmaster, but Grey Knights, Grandmasters, Leagues of Votann models with the Grim whatever enhancement have abilities that allow certain models' units to ignore modifiers to the characteristics. Do such abilities allow them to ignore modifiers to the characteristics of weapons equipped by those models/units as well? And the answer is no. So what everybody has been saying on the interweb is that they don't ignore the -1 damage, which was huge for Grey Knights because we only have really 2 damage weapons, only -1 AP. We don't ignore any cover, anything like that. So we were really playing it as -1 damage, ignoring any really and all modifiers. So that's basically the damage. All it really ignores is the modifiers to ballistic skill, weapon skill, -1 to hit, -1 to wound, stuff like that. Somebody let me know in the comments below if it still works with -1 to wound or it's specifically just the stat line. But as of right now, it's kind of tough because this is going to be played in the 23 World Championship of Warhammer, so this is Games Workshop event. So if they really post this on the Games Workshop website saying, hey, this is specifically what the game is going to be doing, this is just for the championship, this isn't the actual FAQ for Games Workshop, they should release it in the FAQ, and they should honestly fucking put bullets on what it actually ignores. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, damage potentially, wounds, like they should literally list it out in a little bullet point on what we're actually doing. So there's no question, there's no argument on what it actually is ignoring or not. Just saying it ignores everything, you should play that ignores everything, but instead it's just, I don't know, that's basically what it is. So everybody's saying Grandmaster is dead. We're going to go over it in the video, but that is the biggest thing that they dropped on us while I was away on the honeymoon. But it only ignores characteristic modifiers. So does this ability allow ignoring modifiers to the characteristics of weapons equipped? So if the weapon has -1 damage or -1 I guess that's really it. Just -1 damage was the biggest thing. So you don't ignore that anymore. That was a big thing coming up for Nova, was we didn't know if it ignored like the Trajan, if you ignore the -1 damage or not. They ruled that it doesn't. So this is going to continue that it's rolling that it doesn't. So any Grey Knight players out there that's using the Grandmasters because of the videos, or you just like the model, or you have a really cool Grandmaster, list like I did, you're gonna have to basically be using him just for really death guard or like stealth, where it's -1 to hit, stuff like that. Death guard is really going to be a good one because they're definitely coming up in the ranks, but you're still going to be able to use that with your unit to ignore any modifiers to the weapon skill, ballistic skill, -1 to hit, -1 to wound, stuff like that, which still benefits that unit specifically. And the Grandmaster still has the free strat for the devastating wounds for 2 CP. So you get 1 free time, devastating wounds. He's still beat stickly. He has 7 fucking wounds for some reason. He's 95 points, so he's still cheap. He's bringing another side cannon to the unit, and you're bringing him with sigil for the specific reason. There's a couple other things in here. Melta, they ruled that about the modifier. Nothing really else for Grey Knights. There is a transport thing in here. Some people were asking about the ability where you can hop into a transport and then shoot again from the transport. That's still legal. It's really one-shot weapons, like a demo charge or something. Like if you throw a demo charge once per game and then you hop into a vehicle, the vehicle then can't throw a demo charge, or Hunter Seeker Missile, for example, stuff like that. But if you have a gun on a model, that's multi-shot weapon. That's not just a one shot for the game and then it's done. So you could still do that transport thing for Grey Knights if you really wanted to do that. And that was really, I'm going to make the video pretty simple, but we're going to go over separate things to bring in instead of the Grandmaster. Now the Grandmaster in my list has 10 Paladins, sigil obviously, with all the side cannons on the Paladins. So we're going to be doing some different things if you're going to be running Paladins still, or if you're going to be switching it over to Terminators. Now, first thing is the Grandmaster. That's really all you lose, is you're going to lose the -1 damage and all that stuff, but he's still good with the unit for the ignoring other modifiers, -1 to hit, -1 to weapon skill, ballistic skill, all that stuff. So he's still going to ignore that. That's really good. And he has the once per game free strat for 0 CP for the devastating wounds on the charge. It's still good, guys. For 5-point difference between the Brother Captain and the Grandmaster with the additional wound as well, I think he's still worth it. Now, the other option is the Brotherhood Captain, which has 6 wounds compared to 7. He has sustained hits for the squad. Now, the thing about sustained hits, it's not very reliable. Like sometimes you might have 7 6s, sometimes you might have 2 6s or 1 6. You get sustained hits on 1. Now this is going to be really good for rerolls with a Ven Dread. Like if you have a Venerable Dread with a 10-man Pally squad hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, exploding 6s, that's going to be a really good combo. So if you're going to build a list with 10 Paladins and a Brother Captain, try and fit a Venerable Dread in there just so you can proc the sustained hits more frequently, and you're going to still hit on 2s. His thing specifically is each time this model makes an attack with a psychic weapon, which is his side cannon, and his melee weapon, reroll all wound rolls. So it's a little bit more boost to the wounding for this model specifically. So 3 shots of the side cannon, sustain hits on 6s, and then full rerolls to wound, which you're going to wound most of the time as well. Now this guy can also bring the sigil. So no matter what character we're going over today, you're going to be bringing the sigil to go into your 10-man Paladin brick or your 10-man Terminator brick. Now my Paladin brick is mainly the beat stick. Like they're the bullies of the game. They're going to be teleporting all over. I'm not really going to get them into combat unless I know I'm going to kill something, because if they're stuck in combat, they're not going to be able to sigil away or teleport away. So I'm using them to kind of teleport all around the board, shoot from a distance, and then if I need to set up a charge in the backfield, I'm either rapid ingressing them from the teleport assault. So basically you go Mist of Deimos, and then at the end of the movement phase, you rapid ingress them for another CP, and then you can move up and charge something to kill it on your turn. So we talked about this guy a lot in the previous video, but I think he's good specifically for the side cannons. If you're going to bring them with Terminators, you only get 2 side cannons in the squad. If you bring Paladins, you're going to get 5 side cannons in the squad. So definitely combining him with Paladins, I think, will be the best fit for the Brother Captain. But the sustained hit also works in melee as well. So any 6s to hit in melee is going to do something as well. Now the third option is going to be a little bit more expensive. The Brotherhood Captain is 90 points. This guy base is 100 points. So if we have the Librarian, which is another unit that can bring the sigil into the unit, so that way the whole unit, 10-man paladin or 10-man terminators, I would put him probably with a terminator brick, just so that way you can kind of keep them coming back. The whole terminator will have a 4-up, feel no pain against psychic attacks. Him leading a unit protects him and the unit from him rolling a 1 for the Vortex of Doom, but it's additional mortal wounds coming in from this specific guy. He can't have a side cannon, he only has a fucking Stormbolter, but he does have precision on his Purge Soul, so that we could potentially snipe out some characters. But he's got 5 wounds instead of 6 from the Brother Captain. He doesn't boost the unit that he's with, besides the 4-up psychic attack defense, which is okay. It's good against Thousand Suns and stuff like that, but mainly he's just going to be kind of hopping around. Usually with 5-man units he's better in, but a 10-man he could be a potential add-on instead of the Grandmaster, but you're also adding additional 5 points for this guy with not as many wounds, not as much melee or shooting potential, but still bring something to the unit. So Librarian would be the next choice. And my last choice, but main choice, I would definitely start adding in is the Chaplain. The Chaplain got a point decrease. He is now 75 points. So even with the 30 or 35 point upgrade for the sigil, 30 point upgrade, he's now 105 points base with the sigil and your squad. Now him with the Paladin squad being able to get +1 to wound. Now it would be so much better if he had +1 to wound with all psychic weapons. Instead it's just +1 to wound melee. So him in melee and his squad, he gets +1 to wound. Having him going into a Terminator unit, I think the Terminator unit would be able to survive a little bit longer, just because they get to res a guy every single command phase. It extends the threat range a little bit longer, as well as they get lethal hits on the charge. So when they charge in, 6's auto wound, and then when they do their wounding, they get +1 to wound on top of that. So most of the time when we go into vehicles, wounding on 5s. If they're toughness 12, they wound on 6s. So now with this guy, we're auto wounding on 6s to hit, and then wounding on 4s against vehicles, or 5 against toughness 12 vehicles. So that's a huge difference when it comes to melee threat range. Still not good, still not amazing, but if you're using these guys to be insane into infantry, you're going to be wounding infantry on most of the time 4s, and then 3s if they're toughness 5 or less, they're wounding on 3s down to 2s with all of our weapons. So Paladins are going to be hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s with all infantry, so they're just going to murder fucking everything, which are already good into Marines anyway. So he can't have a side cannon, but at least he can fucking boost our melee, which we have to get in melee, we have to kill whatever we touch, so that way we can teleport away. Then, each time the enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit makes a battle shock or leadership test, subtract 1 from the test. So, anytime the enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, it has to be that specific model, not a unit. So, if he's in the unit, he's got to be basically where you want him to be, specifically, so that way he can make them -1 to the leadership test. Now, that's going to come up very rarely, I would say, but it could help out with primary and secondaries and stuff like that by stealing objectives and whatnot. So he does have 5 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, AP 1, only AP 1, but 2 damage. So hitting on 2s, 5 wounds, and then is just a regular stone bolter. So nothing crazy, but he has 75 points, bringing sigil as well. So that is what I'm going to be testing out in my list, is the Brotherhood Chaplain with a 10-man Paladin brick instead. That's going to get me 20 points. So it's going to add me additional 20 points to my list, which who the hell knows what I'll bring instead of 20 points. But I might take out Inquisitor Squad. That's 80 points I have. I can probably bring in another Assassin, potentially, or two men units of Inquisitor Henchmen for 80 points. So that would get me an additional unit in my main list for Grey Knights. But those are the main additions that you guys can be adding in instead of the Grandmaster. Grandmaster I still think is viable. He's bringing a side cannon, 7 wounds, free devastating wound, strat once per game, and ignore any hit or, you know, modifiers, stuff like that. So I think the Grandmaster is still very good, but something else to try out in the game would be the Chaplain, would be my first pick. The Brotherhood Captain, if you're going to bring in a Venerable Dread, or the Librarian if you're going to bring some Terminators in there as well. So those would be my picks. Hopefully this helped you out, but I don't think he's dead. I think he's still good. He's just not as good with the -1 damage. So anybody that has -1 damage, just look out for it. Make sure you're asking ahead of time when you're going into the game, because anything that has a -1 damage strat is going to be really hard to take down, especially for Grey Knights. Most of our weapons are 2 damage. We don't really have anything that's more damage besides Dread Knights, which we don't run anyway. So you're gonna have to really know where to attack, just like we had to in the beginning of 10th, is like, what are we actually gonna specifically kill and what has -1 damage, because that's what you're gonna need to know going into the game with this nerf to the Grandmaster again. So just give us once per battle round and he'll be #1 again, instead of once per game. But who the hell knows? We got to wait for our codex. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. What do you guys think it's specifically? Is it 2 wound or not 2 wound? And then head over to Discord so you guys can join that and join the Dirtbags. If you guys want to support us over to Patreon, head over there. We just got 1,100 dice in, so dice are back on the menu. We ordered 500 of the green and 500 of the orange, which are coming in probably in end of December. So those will be up for order as well. Thanks guys. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you guys are new, hit subscribe, do all the YouTube shit, and we'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? Welcome to the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. This is going to be support to the Dirtbag Nation. Just to give you a little insight on what we're trying to do and trying to grow into, we're trying to grow a brand name of the Dirtbag Nation, 40k Dirtbags, going all over the country and coaching people to get better at the game of 40k. We have really good coaching over at the Dirtbag Nation. Myself is ranked #1 for Grey Knights in the world last year in 9th edition. This year, we're currently ranked #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world on ITC 40k rankings. So we have a lot of experience over at the channel, and a lot of the coaches are going to start joining in and joining the Dirtbag Nation to help you guys get better at 40k. If you guys are new to the Patreon page, we have a couple different tiers. The first tier is the $1 tier. That's basically just coming over, supporting us for $1 a month. You get first access to the Dirtbag videos up on Patreon. The next tier is a $5 tier. Basically, you get first access as well as just have a little bit more branding with the Patreon Discord page. And you want to support us a little bit more than $1 a month. I really appreciate both you guys. The $10 tier is the competitive Dirtbag page. That's where we get more into the tactics, one-on-one coaching on the Discord. And if you guys have any questions, comments, list ideas, tactics, or game questions, you guys get to message us one-on-one through Discord. Make sure you take advantage of that, because it's completely up to you to ask me any questions you possibly need in the 40k community. Finally, we have the Grandmaster Dirtbag. That Dirtbag is above and beyond. They come out and they basically want us to coach them one-on-one with calls on via Discord, TTS games, battle reports, or any tactical videos that you guys want suggestions to. You guys will get first access to, and we actually play live games for you guys, or go over battle reports for our Grandmasters. Anything armies that you want to see specifically on the tabletop, that's the Grandmaster Dirtbag page. So it's just an explanation on what the different tiers are for Patreon. But again, thank you so much for the support. If you guys are thinking about it, you do have really good coaching. We drink beers, we have fun, we just kind of chill out and teach you guys how to have fun at 40k, unlike some other people on YouTube. But have fun at 40k, be good, win some games, more than you're averagely winning over there all over the world. And if you guys really just want to support the channel, we have our $1 and $5 a month as well. There's all the stickers and dice available to you guys at a discount, and you have your own Patreon tab in Discord that nobody else has access to besides you guys. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to grow Dirtbag Nation as much as we possibly can in 2024 and get it all thanks to you guys. Appreciate it.